and welcome back to the next episode of Mapsimize's Deep Dive podcast with Erica and James. In this episode, we are looking at all things maps and location intelligence. So come along, let's get ready to get your data mapped.
Okay, so we've all been hearing about Mapsimize, and you know, it's got people talking. This whole idea of location intelligence, it's kind of tough to wrap your head around, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit like, well, have you ever used one of those navigation apps that like shows you the traffic in real time?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's kind of like that, but for like everything. Mapsimize takes all that data that we usually think of as like, you know, just numbers on a spreadsheet, addresses, demographics, even things like get this foot traffic pattern.
Oh, kid.
Yeah. And it turns all that into like a living, breathing map that helps businesses make smarter decisions.
So we're talking more than just like pinpointing a store on a map, right? Mm-hmm. This is about understanding the where and how it connects to everything else.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about this source, maximizing business potential with Mapsimize. It's not just about maps, it's about insights. Like imagine instead of just knowing that you got customers in a certain city, you can actually see like clusters of your most loyal buyers, like down to specific streets.
Wow.
Right.
That's pretty amazing. So like a business could use that to, I don't know, maybe target their advertising or even decide where to open a new store, right?
Exactly. It's about making those decisions based on like real data, not just guesswork.
Yeah.
Or gut feeling.
Right. And I'm guessing that's got to be a game changer for sales teams, right? I mean, no more just like drawing lines on a map and hoping for the best.
Yeah, it's like giving them a superpower, really. Mapsimize can analyze things like travel times, customer density, even existing sales data to create like the most efficient sales territories.
So each salesperson knows exactly where to focus their energy. No more wasted time or effort.
Exactly. And it can even like help businesses find those untapped markets, you know, the areas where there's potential for growth, but no one's really tapping into it yet.
That's what I call a competitive edge. But let's talk about something that really blew my mind when I was reading this source, Real-Time Marketing. This idea of sending someone a coupon or a promotion, like right as they're walking by a store. Is that even possible?
Oh, it's definitely possible. It's happening right now. Picture this. You're walking past your favorite coffee shop, and suddenly, buzz, your phone goes off. And it's a notification for like buy one, get one free offer on their new cold brew.
Okay, that's both awesome and a little creepy. Like, how do they even know I'm there?
It's all about this thing called geospatial data. It's basically information that's tied to a specific location. And Mapsimize, it takes that data and like combines it with everything else a business knows about you, your purchase history, maybe even your social media activity.
So they're building this whole profile of me, but it's not just in their system. It's like connected to where I go and what I do in the real world.
Yeah, it's about understanding the context of your behavior, and location is a huge part of that.
Okay, so help me connect the dots here. How does this actually help businesses? Give me a concrete example.
Okay, let's say you're a company that sells, I don't know, organic baby food.
Okay.
And you use Mapsimize to see that, hey, there's this neighborhood where a lot of your customers who buy your baby food also shop at this specific organic grocery store.
I'm with you.
So you could use that information to like partner with the grocery store, maybe offer a discount to those customers, you know, target them specifically.
Okay, so it's not just about knowing where your customers are, it's about understanding their habits and their preferences based on the places they go.
Exactly. It's about taking all that data and using it to create these really personalized experiences. And it goes way beyond just, you know, sending coupons. This is powerful stuff.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. It's like you said, it's not just about dots on a map anymore. It's about understanding the story behind those dots and how it connects to everything else.
And the best part is we're only just scratching the surface.
So much to unpack with this Mapsimize thing. Like, one thing that surprised me was how it's being used for event planning. I mean, that's not the first thing that comes to mind.
Right. You wouldn't think maps and events are like best buddies. But think about it, choosing the right location for an event, it can be a make or break decision.
Totally. You want to be where the people are? And I guess where the parking is, too.
Exactly. And Mapsimize can help event planners go way beyond just like picking a venue with a cool vibe. Like imagine being able to see a map of your target demographic, the people you want to come to your event, and then layer that with like data on transportation access, noise ordinances, even where your competitors are holding their events.
So you don't end up scheduling your big art festival on the same day as the monster truck rally across town.
Exactly. It's about making those strategic decisions, stacking the deck in your favor.
I like it. But it's not all fun and games with this Mapsimize thing, right? I mean, they also talk about some pretty serious stuff like risk assessment.
Oh yeah, that's where things get really interesting. Think about industries like finance and insurance. Imagine being able to visualize things like crime rates in different neighborhoods or natural disaster zones, areas prone to flooding or earthquakes.
Okay, now that's pretty powerful stuff. Instead of just looking at a citywide crime statistic, they're getting down to the nitty-gritty.
Exactly. It's about making those decisions, whether it's setting insurance premiums or deciding where to invest based on hyper-local insights. And it's not just about the money either. Think about healthcare.
Okay, yeah, I saw they mentioned something about that in here.
Right. Mapsimize can be used to identify communities where people don't have easy access to hospitals or clinics, or pinpoint areas with a high prevalence of certain diseases. It's about understanding those patterns and using that knowledge to improve public health.
Now we're talking about potentially saving lives.
Yeah.
That's a whole other level of impact.
It really is. But let's bring it back down to earth for a second. They also talked about using Mapsimize to optimize field service operations.
Oh, right, like those cable guys who are always, we'll be there between 8 a.m. and sometime next Tuesday.
Exactly. But imagine if, instead of that, they could dispatch the technician who's closest to your location in real time. That's what Mapsimize allows companies to do.
So no more waiting around all day for the cable guy.
Exactly. It's about efficiency, reducing those response times, and making customers happy.
Who doesn't love a happy customer? And speaking of happy customers, they also mentioned something about using Mapsimize for managing commercial real estate.
Right. Think about property managers, the people who have to deal with dozens, even hundreds of units. Mapsimize lets them see their entire portfolio on a single map.
That's got to be better than those giant binders full of spreadsheets they usually lug around.
Tell me about it. And it's not just about visualizing the properties. It's about tracking things like lease renewals, maintenance requests. They can even identify potential problems, like if a certain building has a really high tenant turnover rate, that might signal something's up.
So it's like a heads up for property managers to maybe look into things a little deeper.
Exactly. And they even talked about using Mapsimize to analyze demographics in relation to property locations.
Okay, how does that work? Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say you're a property management company and you use Mapsimize to see that there's this neighborhood that's experiencing an influx of young families.
Okay, lots of strollers and playgrounds popping up.
Exactly. So you might decide to adjust your rental pricing strategies for properties in that area, or maybe target your marketing to appeal to families.
It's like they're reading the tea leaves, but instead of tea leaves, it's data points on a map.
It's all about connecting those dots, seeing those patterns that you might not otherwise notice. And that brings us back to what we were talking about earlier, this idea of personalized customer engagement.
Right, because if you know where people are going and what they're doing, you can tailor your message to their specific needs and interests.
Exactly. Imagine getting a coupon for a discount on a family pizza night at the local pizzeria, just as you're walking by with your kids.
Okay, see, now that's just good marketing. It's they know me better than I know myself.
Yeah.
But they didn't just talk about the business side of things, right? There was a whole section on the social and environmental impacts of Mapsimize.
Right, and that's what I think is so cool about this technology. It's not just about making a profit, it's about making a difference.
Okay, so how does that actually work in practice? Give me an example.
Well, they talked about how governments and nonprofits are using Mapsimize to allocate resources more effectively. Let's say you're working for an organization that's trying to combat food deserts.
Food deserts.
Yeah, those areas where people don't have easy access to fresh, healthy food. Maybe they live miles from the nearest grocery store, or they don't have reliable transportation.
Right. So how does Mapsimize help?
Well, you could use it to map out all the food deserts in a city and then overlay that with data on public transportation routes, community centers, even things like vacant lots that could potentially be used for urban gardens.
So instead of just throwing money at the problem, they can be really strategic about it.
Exactly. And it's not just about food deserts. They talked about using Mapsimize to improve disaster response, track the spread of diseases, even promote sustainable development. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It's like we've got this incredible tool at our fingertips, and we're just starting to figure out all the ways we can use it to make the world a better place.
And that's what I find so exciting. It feels like we're on the verge of something really big.
It's like we're living in the future, but it's happening right now. But with all this talk about the amazing things Mapsimize can do, it makes you wonder, are there any downsides? Like, what about the potential for misuse?
Yeah, it does make you think, right? Like, any powerful tool can be used for good or, well, not so good.
Exactly. And that's the thing about location data. It's like really personal. I mean, it knows where you've been, what you like to do, even who you spend time with.
Yeah, and this source, it did mention how Mapsimize is all about creating those, what did they call it? Hyper-personalized experiences, which sounds amazing on the one hand, but also a little bit Big Brother-ish on the other. Right. Like, I'm all for getting a coupon for my favorite ice cream shop when I'm in the neighborhood, but if it starts to feel like they're, like, tracking my every move, that's a little creepy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, where do you draw the line? And it's not just about marketing, right? I mean, think about all the ways this data could be misused, discrimination, surveillance, even corporate espionage.
Exactly. And that's why I think it's so important to have these conversations about the ethical implications of location intelligence. It's not enough to just talk about the cool features and the business benefits. We need to be thinking about the potential downsides too.
So it's not about being afraid of the technology, but about being aware of the risks and like demanding transparency from the companies that are using it.
100%. Consumers need to know what data is being collected about them, how it's being used, and most importantly, how they can opt out if they want to.
Right, because knowledge is power. The more we understand about this technology, the better equipped we'll be to use it responsibly and ethically.
And that's what I hope people take away from this deep dive. Location intelligence is incredibly powerful, but it's up to us to make sure it's used for good.
Well said. It's like we've opened up this Pandora's box of data, and it's both exciting and a little bit daunting. But one thing's for sure, the where is going to continue to play a bigger and bigger role in our lives. So buckle up, folks. It's going to be a wild ride.
And that's a wrap on Mapsimize. If you're as fascinated by this as we are, head over to our website. We'll have links to all the stuff we talked about today, plus some bonus material. Until next time, keep exploring.
Thank you so much for listening. Please do remember to subscribe, comment, and share. Also, do visit Mapsimize.com if you would like to get your free account. It's free forever, so feel free to sign up. Finally, we do hope to see you next time for more insight into using maps in your business. Mapsimize.com, because it's your data mapped.